We have our first set of guests here. Two gentlemen that don't need much of an introduction at all. To my right is El Presidente, the head of Barstool Sports. To my left, Big Cat, pardon my take, and many other places. Gentlemen, welcome to Cleveland.
Prez, I got to jump right in here because I'm excited to chat with you.
I can tell.
But you normally like your boxing, dipped in West Virginia a little bit.
Yes.
Right?
Weren't you just in West Virginia?
You know what? Surprisingly, it's not that far off. We were in West Virginia for Rough and Rowdy. I pitched Rough and Rowdy to Showtime Sports 5 years ago. They're like, oh, it's a circus. No, purist. Look where we are now.
Certainly got the last word there.
Yeah, no, it's great.
By the way, did you try, I think I saw you try some pizza here in Cleveland.
I did.
How was it?
It's not my favorite style. It's thick, floppy, but it wasn't bad. I'm lighter. I'm easier now. In my older age, I've gotten a little easier on the scoring.
Are you enjoying your time in Cleveland?
I am. I wish we'd get these cameras moved back a little. I'm a little too close.
Yes.
Not a great angle. But we're excited to be here. I know, Dave.
We get on a real network, and you got to tuck that in.
If you don't look bloated, then you ain't trying here, okay? There you go.
That was stunning.
Yeah, this is a little bit disaster all the way around, but it's okay.
It's bad.
Big Cat, I want to hit you up with this because I'm just saying it.
In right now.
And they're wearing sports.
Yes. We are doing a better job at camouflaging, but we all
If I show too much package, would you let me know, please? Here's the deal. This is boxing, meaning they're going to touch gloves to professional fight, but the atmosphere is anything but. I mean, there was almost crowd participation up there of who wants to fight Logan Paul on this stage. Are you liking this kind of stuff, this pro wrestling,
I love
this craziness?
I love it. It sells tickets. People are interested in the Paul brothers. Like we said, we just came from West Virginia. The fight game, this is the fun part. Obviously, watching the matches is great. Like, watching the fights is great. But selling a fight is awesome. And that's kind of what we do day to day.
I was going to ask you, you said you're not in a position to doubt the Paul brothers anymore.
Yeah.
Sounds like you used to.
I did. I absolutely did. Because I thought, okay, what do they know? Like, you guys obviously know boxing very well. I'm a fan of boxing. Like, it's a very, very tough sport. You can't just jump into it. But they've done a good job. And they've looked good every time they've gone out there.
Are you a big believer in the Pauls?
I don't know what I am. I mean, I honestly don't, but that is the magic, more so of Jake. Like, I mean, Logan, I was at that fight, and 50-0 versus 0-1. It's like, what? But this fight in particular, it doesn't matter the sport. When someone knocks somebody out in the fashion that he has, I don't care who they're fighting, that just piques human interest. Like, does this guy have that power in his hand? So that is what it is. People are tuning in. Yeah, it's a circus and everything else. But Jake Paul, the fashion he has won, has made a must-watch. And I will give credit. I say the people picking his fights are geniuses. Because every fight is a step up and at the right level where you're like, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen here. And I know there's people who believe Woodley will end this, and that's what you want. You got a guy with a lot of power and intrigue, and there hasn't been many of those fights in boxing, pure boxing, in a while.
I think you guys would agree, love him or hate him, Jake Paul's a viable, legitimate boxing pay-per-view brand. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, is he? He's definitely pay-per-view. Is he boxing? I don't know yet.
Well, he's a good athlete, and he has the money to train properly. I guess the question I would have is, and Dave and I always talk about it, once you get to a level where the opponent has the hand speed, a true boxer's hand speed is the differentiator, right? Does Woodley have that? I don't know. You guys tell me.
He's got big power. He does have the big power.
That's not hand speed. You can overcome power as long as you're not.
But if you can beat the speed with good timing.
Yeah.
So if you know what you're looking for, which you look at that counter two that he used to drop Darren Till. Granted, it's MMA, it's not boxing, but still, that's perfect timing. If he can bring that to bear, could get a little dicey.
Yeah, and it's just so impossible to tell. That's why the matchmaking is perfect, and there's no doubt he's the draw. You can't deny that. And if he keeps stepping up, eventually you figure we're going to figure this out. This could be the time. That's what makes it so interesting.
I think it's what we don't know about both that make this fight so interesting. And if I was a marketer in the Jake Paul team, I almost don't want him to prove that he's real as long as you can, because I think that brings the eyeballs. When you're that polarizing, people want to see you win just as passionately as they want to see you lose. And I think I don't know if he's good, but he's expertly navigated the road. That means he's kind of got me hooked in finding out. And I think, but that shtick though, Prez, would that play in your high school? Would he have got beaten up for this shtick?
No, not really. And as much as we're talking about it, I mean, Mike Tyson bit a guy's ear off, and Conor McGregor is the greatest mic guy of all time. Muhammad Ali is the greatest talker of all time. So what he's doing, he's just taking the internet era really with it. Right. But trash talking, selling fights, that's day one stuff in the fight business.
In a weird way, the hardest part about selling fights is being that guy, and they already were those guys.
Do you guys think Tyron's a little bit slept on? I came into this week being like, well, this is kind of the Jake Paul show, and then I watched the face-off that they did. Tyron was in control of that, man.
Well, and it also didn't help, obviously, that Ben Askren, I don't know if you wanted to be there, but you have the UFC fighter fight him, he gets knocked out, and now it's another UFC fighter, so you're like, oh, it's going to be the same thing. So to the answer to your question, yes. I think he's definitely slept on.
Do you agree?
Slept on in the sense of what he's going to do, or I couldn't tell if you meant just his presence.
There is something of an idea, you ask certain people in town, that he's being brought in for a job. He's being brought in because, he's serviceable, but he doesn't really have a chance at winning. I guess I'm saying is, how legitimate in your mind is his chance of winning? So
I was talking to Dan, and I was with UFC people well known in Miami, and they were telling me they would have bet all their money that Ben Askren is get knocked out fast. Okay. And this was 2 months ago, and they said, we'll take that same money, we'll put it all in Woodley. And I could tell the way they were looking, they were dead serious. We saw them tonight. They're like, you're crazy, we're telling you. And they say it in a way that I believe them. I don't pretend to know enough about either side, but I believe that this is a legitimate fight. And we got to see, he's never been hit. We got to see a guy get hit. Yeah. We've just never seen it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think the longer it goes, gets more interesting. I think that benefits Woodley.
But how marketable could this be? Meaning, does this bubble that the Paul brothers have created of this celebrity crossover, does it burst with a Jake loss? How long can this be sustained?
I think in boxing you always get a rematch. You know what I mean? So if he loses on Sunday night, tomorrow night, he probably would get. I'd buy a rematch. But then if he lost 2 in a row, then I think you probably do a little.
Well, then you get the brother up in the bullpen. Okay, then you get Logan.
But the rematch always plays.
But Logan's lost before too. I really think he doesn't have the credibility to survive. Definitely not more than 2 losses because we haven't fought. Where a guy with a track record who's beaten a lot of guys and has a career, he can come back. But he's still unique. There's not many of these celebrity guys out there because not everyone can knock. I don't care. Listen, Nate Robinson is still a pro athlete. Askren still has it. They got knocked out cold. Not many celebrity YouTubers can do that. So Jake Paul's not growing on trees.
We got to wrap up here for just a second, but I want to talk about you guys are the title sponsor here and the app. I checked out the app. I did download it. I have to say, yes, of course you're sitting in front of me, but I told him this before the show. That's a killer app. The Barstool Sportsbook betting app. It's in all the iOS stores and all the Android stores. How did you guys decide to make this move into that sort of territory, that vertical?
So we got bought by a casino company, Penn, and then for this fight, I've known Nikisa, I've known Jake forever. So they're like, you guys interested in the fight? People love betting on fights. It's almost as much as you go to Vegas.
Culture.
Listen, I'm wearing a Cleveland shirt. I love it, but the buzz of being in Vegas and everyone's going around there is nothing like it. So we wanted to be a part of this fight, and everyone's gonna be betting it. And I think there's a lot of action to be had both ways because it's 2-1 now. Yeah. And by the way, if you're listening at home, we're doing a promo where if you haven't signed up, you deposit. This is me being great pitch man right now. Yeah. Yep. You put in $10 deposit, get a free $100 Super Bowl bet. So combined sports.
Put the thing in the thing.
Put the thing in the thing.
And then make the other thing.
And for Big Cat, for the folks who have not seen the app yet, you can bet on everything related to sports,
everything. And on top of that, Logan Paul has an exclusive because he works with us.
He gave his prediction. Yeah.
So plus 150 for Jake Paul to knock out Tyron Woodley.
All right, here's the most important question. Where are you guys sitting tomorrow night?
We're on the call.
Yeah.
So you're going to be right on the ring.
You know what? That was a dumb question. I'm going to ask.
One step forward, 3 steps back.
They're part of our team.
What do you think we're doing here? We had to pay our way to get on here.
Because I'm going to ask a dumb question, too. How many rounds is this fight?
Good question, Dan.
No more than
3. We know.
Do you have someone in your ear?
No. Actually, how many is it?
It's 8.
Okay, that's what obviously I knew.
Can I give a quick shout out to, please? Speaking of gambling, the Nebraska kicker who missed an extra point with a minute to go for the thing to go under, you should quit.
Yeah. So when you asked, how did we get into it, I didn't know if you were asking greater, the fact that we just have been gamblers our whole life, but before this, it was just a brutal loss.
The professionalism to come on the show after a loss like that.
52.5. He missed it landed on 52. He missed an extra point.
Oh, there is Logan Paul behind us.
We should have a total on how many
I
fights
believe
in the
he's
crowd.
sitting, sliding in now. So I don't mean to boot you guys, but Logan Paul.
No,
You can
that's
ask him
fine.
about this
Shares,
too because
okay?
he works with us as well.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
ask if he's heard of you guys first.
Go
Okay,
get
do it.
the Barstool Sports betting app. It's amazing, the sportsbook app.
And
Can't
get
miss
better
it.
cameras. This is a terrible.
I
Yes, I
won't
know. Sorry
argue
about
with
that.
that. I won't
I like
argue with that.
Also, the sports jackets help. That's
Yeah.
Well,
no,
you
they
guys,
do.
we didn't know we were doing this.
Yeah.
No one told us.
Your tan is okay, though, I have to say. It's
I
a
work
great tan.
hard at it.
I can tell.
Thank
Enjoy
you, guys.
Cleveland, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
so much
Thank
for coming on. Appreciate it.
August 29th, Tyron's walking into hell. He's just gonna burn alive. It's gonna be embarrassing as fuck.
I think Jake, some of his antics, I don't think it's disrespect. I think it's a mental warfare because you got to recognize how much experience I have. I got to keep reminding myself he's a child, that, you know, he's doing things that somebody his age should be doing.
I think with every fight, my confidence grows and grows and grows. Beating Ben Askren, I was just like, damn, like I can really punch someone.
Jake is nervous about this fight. You know, he's nervous in the face-offs. He said, I see fear in this. You haven't had enough face-offs to see fear. I've looked at somebody and I've seen fear, and I knew it was going to be over with in the first round. You can't say in 2.5 fights that you've done that.
I'm naturally talented, gifted, naturally athletic, naturally powerful. I'm also just a really fucking hard worker, and I show up every single day, do every single thing right. That's what has made me a real sharp fighter. If we have to go 8 hard rounds, I'm ready.